All right, so this is chapter number 6, Dhyan Yoga. We'll do a quick recap of what we did in our last class, which was perfectional stage of Ashtanga Yoga. So we compared Ashtanga Yogi with Bhakti Yogi. For Ashtanga Yogi, it is very difficult to detach oneself from matter without connecting oneself to Krishna. Whereas for Bhakti Yogi, engaging the senses in Krishna's service, one connects with Krishna and detachment from matter becomes easy. So 6.19, Krishna gave an example, an analogy, how due to wind, just like due to wind, the flame flickers. Who can tell us what is the wind compared to? Wind is like
The material
mind.
material desires, and
Material
flame is like
Mind,
consciousness.
consciousness.
Due to material desires, consciousness gets agitated. And the unflinching flame is like
undeviated consciousness.
very nice, undeviating consciousness. Great. So 20th to 23rd, Krishna said, thinking, he thereby relishes boundless transcendental happiness by directly experiencing the soul and supersoul within the heart. Thinking there is no greater gain than this, his focus never departs from within, even amidst greatest difficulties. Thus, he escapes all miseries arising from material contact. All right. So, and we also did the difference between chit and chitta. So, chit is original, blank, conscious.
Consciousness.
Original blank. What is blank?
Consciousness.
So consciousness is there.
Material
So, original
consciousness.
blank consciousness.
Material consciousness.
Spiritual.
Spiritual consciousness.
Spiritual
Spiritual consciousness.
consciousness.
Chitta is material.
Chitta is consciousness which is rooted in within
Material
the
material energy.
Material
or
consciousness.
entangled consciousness.
Entangled
And then
consciousness.
Krishna says, Yatro paramate chittam, in 20th verse, where the consciousness entangled in matter comes out or stops being there and comes out of the daze-like state. 21st verse, Krishna says, he describes that this ultimate happiness is so deep, rich, and fulfilling that one doesn't want anything else. 22nd verse, Krishna says, life's greatest achievement, which takes us beyond hankering and beyond lamenting. Then 24th to 32nd verse, attaining perfection in Ashtanga Yoga, realizing the super soul, or methods to attain Yoga Rura stage and success formula in yoga. 4 components, just give me 1 second. 4 components: practice with determination, without deviation, giving up all material desires and controlling all senses on all sides. And then we did the story of the brave sparrow for learning determination. The material existence is compared to an ocean, and our conditionings are also oceanic. Waiting eagerly to shower his mercy. 25th verse, Krishna spoke about pratyahar, withdrawal of the senses, how that is important. And with intelligence, convictions, and patience, one achieves perfection. 26th verse, we can recite again together one of the important verses. Yato yato nischalati manaschachalam astiram tatastato niyamayetad atmani eva vasham nayet. From wherever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Success formula in yoga. One who controls the mind and therefore senses as well is called
Goswami.
And the one who cannot, or when the mind is controlled by mind, Godas. We cannot change our internal and external stimuli, but we can
change our response.
Very nice. Okay, we'll begin with today's class, which is the 27th verse. So what happens when a yogi lives like this? Lives like what? By controlling his senses with happiness within, bringing back the mind. This way, the yogi experiences the bliss of samadhi and comes to the stage of Brahma Bhuta, or realizing Atma and Paramatma. So let's recite the verse, 27th. Prashanta manasasyenam yoginam sukham uttamam upaiti shanta rajasam brahma bhutam akalmasham. Somebody can unmute and read the translation.
The yogi
yogi
whose mind is
Go ahead.
The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is fixed, freed from all the reactions to past deeds. Hare Krishna.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. So this verse is Brahma Bhuta platform, which is realizing the Atma. So Shanta, Krishna says, Prashanta. Shanta is peaceful. Prashanta Manasam, whose mind is deeply peaceful. And how did he get that peace of mind? So if we consider there are enemies around us, right? So there cannot be peace ever when we know that there is enemy outside. So peace can be attained when the enemy is subdued, or no peace till the enemy is conquered. So mind is filled with agitating emotions, and that is what makes us restless. They are our enemies. And how? Contaminations constrict the flow of consciousness to the realm of matter and don't allow us to perceive the higher reality. So, when we have agitating emotions, there is no way the consciousness can move towards higher reality or spiritual reality. So, that has to be stopped. The agitating emotions have to be stopped. And this person who is able to control, he achieves that inner peace, that deep peace. So conquer your inner enemies and become deeply peaceful. The way to get peaceful is by crashing those agitating stimulus, by continuously keep saying no to anger, greed, lust, etc. They gradually go away. And then prashanta manasam, one achieves deep peace. Then Krishna says, Yoginam Sukham Uttamam, one experiences the ultimate happiness. So Krishna, throughout the Bhagavad Gita, he's never said once you achieve a particular position in life, you achieve fame, or you achieve this much money, assets, you will achieve ultimate happiness. He's never ever said that. Everywhere he's spoken about equilibrium, be equipoised in sukha and dukkha. Here he's saying, how can you achieve ultimate happiness? By keep saying no to all these anarthas. That is the way to become peaceful. And then Brahma Bhutam Akalmasham, freed from all past sinful reactions, one is reinstated at the spiritual platform. So, freed from contamination leads to passions which are subdued, and then that leads to mind becoming peaceful and experiencing happiness, which brings us to a level where we are freed from past sins, also, Krishna says, and one then is reinstated at the spiritual level. Prabhupada says, Brahma Bhuta is a state of being free from material contamination, situated in the transcendental service of the Lord. One cannot remain in the quality of Brahman, the Absolute, until one's mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. Again, Prabhupada brings in the same verse. Remember, we did in the last class, Vaimana Krishna Padaravindayo, Ambarish Maharaj's, how he is, all his limbs, his mind, everything is engaged in Krishna's service. So unless One cannot remain in that quality of Brahman unless one is absolutely fixed in the service of the lotus feet of Krishna. To be always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord or to remain in Krishna consciousness is to be factually liberated from the mode of passion and all material contamination. So, a beautiful verse from the Bhagavatam. Dhautatma purusha Krishna padamulam namunchati mukta sarva parikleshaha pantha swasharanam yataha. A pure devotee of the Lord whose heart has once been cleansed by the process of devotional service never relinquishes the lotus feet of of Lord Krishna, for they fully satisfy him as a traveler is situated at home after a troubled journey. So, beautiful analogy here in this verse from the Bhagavatam, where it says that just like you see a traveler, if he's traveling to various places because of work, how does he continue? There could be many difficulties, right? When he's traveling, there could be, scarcity of food or, just being out of your house, out of your bed is uncomfortable. And being outside for so long and, so many difficulties away from your family, that's also another difficulty. But thinking about the family when he and his comfortable home, he keeps going on. That journey, which is so difficult, becomes easier for him. In fact, just by thinking, okay, this day I'm reaching home and then I'll be relaxed with my family, just that thought also keeps him going. So, and then when he reaches home, he's like so much at peace and he's so happy. Like you see, his face, his expression, you can see on the picture, so troubled, and at home, he's so peaceful. So this is what the verse is saying. A pure devotee of the Lord whose heart has once been cleansed by the process of devotional service never relinquishes the lotus feet of Lord Krishna, for they are fully satisfied as a traveler is satisfied at home after a troubled journey. Beautiful picture. Kindly mute yourself if you're unmuted, because there's some background noise. Okay. How one achieves this stage by regular practice, Krishna tells in the next verse. So, 28th verse, Krishna will speak about Brahman realization. So, this one, 27th verse was Atma realization. 28th will be Brahman realization. 29th, Paramatma realization. And 30th will be Bhagwan realization. And the example again is of the sun, the surface, and the rays. So this is, Krishna is going to give a progressive level of realization. 28th verse, which is Brahman realization. Let's recite it. Yunjanevam sadatmanam yogi vigata kalmashaha sukhena brahma samsparsham atyantam sukham ashnute. Somebody can read the translation.
Thus, the self-controlled yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practice, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So the Sanskrit word Brahma Samsparsham means, here Krishna says Brahma Samsparsham, right? Being in constant touch with the Supreme Self. Such a yogi experiences transcendental happiness. And you will now tell us. We're contrasting this with a verse that came in the 5th chapter. Material pleasure due to sparsha or touch is a source of misery. Anybody remembers? One of the verses we're trying to memorize from the 5th chapter. Material pleasure due to sparsha with the sense objects is a source of misery. Because in the beginning there is misery, in the end there is misery. Remember which verse is that?
Matra sparshastu Kunteya.
That is also
Samsparshascha
similar.
bhoga dukha yonaya evate.
ये हि संस्पर्शजा भोगा दुःखयोना एव ते आद्य अंतवंत
Adi
कौन्तेय
antavanta kaunteya
Nateshu
nateshu ramate
Ramate
buddha.
Buddha. Very nice. So samsparsha, there also the word samsparsha came, but that touch was with the bhoga, with the sense objects. Here, samsparsha is also coming, but it's not bhoga, samsparsha ja bhoga, it is Brahma samsparsha. And there it was misery, right? Dukkha. Here it is transcendental happiness. So beautiful contrast, right? If we're in touch with the spiritual, then there is happiness. If we're in touch with the sense objects, material sense objects or pleasure, then there is dukkha. So atyantam sukham, one gets supreme, ultimate, highest happiness. Atyantam, Krishna says. So this is Brahma realization, Brahma samsparsham. When the yogi turns inwards, he first perceives all-pervading spiritual reality that underlines the material appearance. Then, as the yogi moves forward, he sees something higher. So the next verse talks about Paramatma realization. And this is a vision of a yogi. We'll recite the verse. Sarvabhutasthamatmanam sarvabhutani chatmani ikshate yoga yuktatma sarvatra samadarshanaha. Somebody can read the quickly. Just unmute and read the translation. Anybody?
A yogi observes me in all beings.
A true yogi
A true
observes me in
yogi
all beings
observes
and
me in
also
all
go ahead.
beings.
Go ahead, go ahead.
A true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere.
Another beautiful verse, right? Krishna is bringing sprinkles of bhakti in these verses now because 7th chapter is going to begin, which is the section on bhakti yoga. So a true yogi observes me in all beings and also sees me in every being. He sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me, the same Supreme Lord, everywhere. So Sarva Bhutastham Atmanam, situated in all beings, all living beings, and Sarva Bhutani Cha Atmani, one in whom all living beings are situated. And we'll understand this. So Paramatma, let's see if anybody can answer this question. So Paramatma, who is which Vishnu? Within the heart? Name of the Vishnu?
Shirodaksha Vishnu.
Shirodaksha Vishnu. Within the heart, right? So Krishna says, situated in all living beings. Krishna is talking about Shirodaksha Vishnu over here, right? Who's situated in all living beings. But then he says, one in whom all living beings are situated. Which Vishnu is that?
Garbhodaksha Vishnu.
Garbhodaksha Vishnu, in whom all the, also we can say Mahavishnu, because ultimately everybody goes in him, right? All material and Mahatattva and Jivas, everything goes inside him. So in whom all living beings are situated, but both are Vishnu forms. Ikshate Yoga Yuktatma, engaged in the process of yoga. Ikshate means he sees, one will see with purified vision. And how is it purified? Because of yoga yuktatma, because of being engaged in yoga. Sarvatra samadarshana, he sees everyone equally. Another verse came earlier where, okay, let's look at this first. Paramatma realization in all beings is Shirodaksha Vishnu, and in all beings in him could be Garbhodaksha Vishnu or Karnodaksha Vishnu or Mahavishnu. So the soul is a comparison here, difference. Living entities are known as Jivatma, super soul is known as Paramatma, and then soul is Anu, infinitesimally small, and the super soul is infinite, which is Vibhu. And soul is cognizant of one's own body, and super soul is cognizant of everyone and everything. A loving servitor, whereas the super soul is eternally a loving master, and the soul is innumerable, living entities are there, but the super soul in the heart of every living entity and within every atom, still there is only one super soul. So, Sarvatra Samadarshana, everywhere equally, by understanding that everything is connected with the Lord and under His control. Prabhupada says here Atma refers to Supreme Lord as confirmed by the Smriti. The Supreme Lord is called Atma because he's pervading everywhere and knows everything, or the mother of everything. That Paramatma is referred to in this verse is understood clearly from the next verse as well. So Krishna is going to compare and then he's going to talk about it's the same thing, me and that super soul. But I had a question here. I think I forgot to put it in the slide, but remember there was another verse in the 5th chapter. I think it'll come that slide. I did make it where there is let's keep
Vidya
going.
Vinay Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastani Shuni Chaiva
Very
Shvapake
nice.
Pandita Samadarshana.
Very nice. So that was equal vision of which yogi? 5th chapter?
Jnana Yoga.
Ashtang Yogi Mataji.
So Ashtanga Yogi is this chapter, 6th chapter.
Jnana Yogi, Mataji.
Fifth chapter.
Jnana Yogi.
5th chapter was
And
named Karma
Gyan
Yoga,
Yogi.
remember? So vision
Karma
of a
Yogi.
Karma Yogi at that time.
Karma Yogi.
Yeah. And now this is vision of a yogi or Ashtanga Yogi. Okay, let's keep going. 30th verse. And this is also one of the verses that we'll try to memorize. So let's all recite it. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha me na pranashyati. One more time. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha me na pranashyati. 6.30. Let's have somebody read the translation.
For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Correct.
Another beautiful verse. One who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he never lost to me. Deepa Mataji, you have your hand raised. Go ahead.
Yes, Mataji, forgive me, I'm a little slow, but I didn't. Can you give an example of someone who has achieved like Brahman realization versus someone like who has achieved Paramatma realization? Because I didn't quite understand the difference between the two.
So
Like, what
Brahman
exactly is the
realization.
difference?
Brahman realization is so first is Atma realization. Somebody realizes that yes, I am Atma. So here Krishna is talking about the levels at which the Ashtanga yogi is sitting and he's practicing his Ashtanga yoga, right? So the levels he's giving before he reaches perfection, which is seeing Krishna everywhere. Before that, he comes to a stage where he sees Paramatma within himself. Before that, he comes to a stage where he sees Brahman, that yes, Krishna or the super soul is pervading everywhere. And before that is the stage where he perceives his own Atma, yes, I'm a soul. So it is a gradation. I will not be able to give example of somebody who's, Paramatma realized versus somebody who's, just Atma realized.
Okay.
This is a gradation Krishna is giving.
Okay, understood, Mataji. I thought that for certain people, I think I've read somewhere that for certain people, that is the ultimate goal is to like achieve like Brahman realization at the end
For
of
the
life.
Gyanis.
For the Gyanis.
For the Gyanis, the ultimate is merging into that light, right? Brahman is Brahman realization. For the Ashtanga yogis, it is what? Paramatma realization. And then for the Bhakti yogis, it is Bhagwan realization.
Okay.
Which is this one. Which is this verse. The one who sees me, when Krishna is standing there in front of Arjuna saying, one who sees me everywhere and everything in me, right? He's not talking about Brahman or Paramatma. He's talking about me, which is Bhagwan standing there right in front of him. So this is Bhagwan realization. So yo mam pashyati sarvatra, one who sees me everywhere, sarvam cha mai pashyati, also he sees everything in me. For such a person, I'm not lost, never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Pranashyami also can mean no fall from the spiritual relationship. There is no fall. If he sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, he will not fall from that relationship, spiritual relationship. So right now, the direction of the vision of a conditioned jiva is everywhere around him, being in constant touch, because we moved away from Krishna. Our vision is towards his energy, which is material energy, which is also Krishna's, but we are enamored by it. We are, uh,
Mataji can't hear you. Is it everybody can't hear Mataji?
Even I
Yes.
can't hear Mataji.
I
Yes,
can't hear
Mataji.
either.
Even
Yes,
I can't hear Mataji.
Shambhu Prabhu, you can hear me?
Very clearly, Prabhu. Hari Bol.
And I think Mataji has left. She will rejoin after some time. And she's not there anymore.
Network issue.
Yeah. I had that here so far. On off. This Wi-Fi on off.
How's your health, Prabhuji, now? Out of fever?
That was
I am okay,
examination
Prabhuji.
fever, Mataji.
Shambhu Prabhu is always good.
He had examination fever.
Since beginning student life.
How are you, Mataji?
Now your voice has gone.
I'm so sorry, Hare Krishna. There's something that went wrong with my computer. It just froze. Just give me 1 second. I'm trying to turn it on. I had to turn it off. And then yeah, it just froze.
Pooja Mataji, when are you due?
April 28th, Mataji. Yeah, it's getting close.
Oh, okay. All the best.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
All the best. You're giving the ultimate to your baby. Ultimate to your baby.
Trying my best, Mata.
All the very best, Pushpa.
So we did last week, no? The class was for the same. Ours is only the efforts. The rest, Krishna will arrange everything.
Yes, certainly. Yeah.
It was very beautiful last
Any class,
week.
Mataji.
Thank you so much, Hare Krishna.
You are in India, Mataji? Are you in India?
No, Prabhu, I'm in Irvine, near LA, near the Laguna Temple. Yes. Yeah, Mataji.
Los Angeles.
All the best, Mataji.
Bahut dhanyavad. Thank you so much, Mata.
Okay, just a few more seconds. I had to restart it. I'm so sorry for the delay. I don't know what happened. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram.
Recording in progress.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna. Quickly share the screen. All right, so here is where we were. Yo mam pashyati sarvatra. One who sees me everywhere, sarvam cha mai pashyati, and sees everything in me. Tasyaham na pranashyami. For such a person, I'm never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Beautiful verse. Okay, so we were here, right? So direction of the vision is right now contaminated with the conditioned jiva. And from the Brahma Samhita, this verse, Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadaiva Hridreshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundaram Achintya Guna Swarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So when the eyes are anointed with or tinged with the salve of love, then we can see Krishna everywhere. This is a beautiful song from, if you remember, there used to be these episodes called Vishnu Puran, if you remember. So this is from there where Prahlad is seeing Krishna everywhere. So let's look at this beautiful small song. And we can
बस
और से क्या काम ये मेरा प्रण है मेरे जगदीश तेरे सामने मैं झुकाऊंगा बस अपना शीश तेरे सामने तू ही मन मंदिर में है तुझे कोटि कोटि प्रणाम है तुझे कोटि कोटि प्रणाम है सृष्टि तुझसे है बनी और सृष्टि के कण कण में तू ही जल थल और गगन में वन में तू जीवन में तू हर दिशा में छवि तेरी चहोर तेरा धाम है तू है नारायण मेरा हर सांस में तेरा नाम है बस तू ही सब कुछ मेरा किसी और से क्या काम है किसी और से क्या काम है
We also saw in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's lifetime in the end towards when he was in Gambhira, Jagannath Puri, always seeing Krishna everywhere, right? In that mood. The gopis were in that mood all the time, seeing Krishna everywhere and whatever they did.
Chataka Parvata,
Yes.
right?
Uh-huh.
Govardhan. He thought
From
it is
the, uh-huh.
sand. He thought it is Govardhan Hill.
Yes, he used to think and then crash against it, run towards it, right? And this is a beautiful song, right? Govinda, Govinda Damodar Madhaveti. And this verse, particularly when I was making the slides, I was remembering this verse where the gopis wanted to sell yogurt and all their butter, and they wanted to tell everybody, please buy our butter, please. They wanted to call out, but instead of saying, milk, dahi, butter, they used to say Govindam, Govind Damodar Madhaveti. So beautiful verse. Vikretu Kama, Kila Gopa Kanya Murari, Pada Prita Chitta Vritti, Dadhyadikam Moha, Vashad Avochad, Govindam Damodar Madhaveti.
We
Is
sing
this
this
from the
verse daily.
Bhagavatam, Mataji, the previous verse?
No, this is a song. Who can tell us which song is this?
Yeah, Mata. This is
Yeah.
song. Govinda Damodar Stotram.
Stotram, yeah.
Govinda Damodar Madhave. It starts like this. How to start?
Yeah, it's a beautiful song. I can
Is
share the
it
video.
is
in
it
the
This
group.
was very
Agri Kurunam, right?
Vikretu Kama, Kila Gopa Kanya.
Yes, that one. And Prabhupada says dynamics of a person in Krishna consciousness certainly sees Lord Krishna everywhere, and he sees everything in Krishna. He may see different manifestations, but sees them as Krishna's energy. Nothing can exist without Krishna, and Krishna is the Lord of everything. This is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is development of love of Krishna, position transcendental even to material liberation. At this stage, the devotee becomes one with Krishna in the sense, not merge, but Krishna becomes everything for the devotee, and devotee becomes full in loving Krishna. A relationship, intimate relationship between the Lord and his devotee then exists. In that stage, the living entity can never be annihilated, nor is the personality of Godhead ever out of sight of that devotee. So again, Premanjana Churita. So this is the notes from the purport. Actions of a perfect yogi is what Krishna will speak about now, 31st to 32nd verse. Let's recite the 31st verse. Sarvabhuta sthitam yo mam bhajati ekatvam astita sarvatha vartamanopi sayogi mai vartate. Such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the Supersoul, knowing that I and the Supersoul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. So, what does this yogi now realize? That the Supersoul and Krishna are the same, right? Let's see. Sarvabhuta Sthitam Yo Mam, one who sees that the one situated in all, which he spoke about in 28th verse, right? He said that Paramatma, that yogi is seeing that Paramatma within everyone. So that Yo Mam, that person who sees that one who's situated in everybody, Bhajati Ekatvam Astita, he worships understanding that I am that. I am that super soul who's situated in all. So, meaning we are the same, ekatvam. Sarvatha vartamanopi, in all respects, he's situated. Sa yogi mai vartate, that yogi remains in me. So, there is an absolute truth pervading all beings, and I am that. And the one who sees both of them equally, such a person becomes situated in me. So Prabhupada says no difference between Vishnu and Krishna and the innumerable super souls in basically in quality. And then he also says no difference between a Krishna conscious person serving Krishna and a perfect yogi meditating on the super soul. There is no difference. The yogi in Krishna consciousness, even though he may be engaged in various activities while in material existence, remains always situated in Krishna. And this is confirmed in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. A devotee of the Lord, always acting in Krishna consciousness, is automatically liberated. And this is from the Narada Pancharatrika. Prabhupada is quoting, by concentrating one's attention on the transcendental form of Krishna, one who is all-pervading and beyond time and space, one becomes absorbed in thinking of Krishna and then attains the happy state of transcendental association with him. So attention and then absorption is coming. So this is for a person who's reached perfection in Ashtanga Yoga. All right. Another picture where Krishna showed in his Leela how he is non-different, or these Vishnu forms are non-different than him, by expanding himself into first these Gopas, right? And then showing to Brahma. This was Brahma Mohan Leela. When he came to ask for forgiveness, he showed the forms, he transformed all those Gopa forms back to Vishnu forms. So how a yogi sees the super soul? One sees within himself the plenary portion of Krishna as Vishnu, with 4 hands holding conch shell, wheel, club and lotus flower. The yogi should know that Vishnu is non-different from Krishna, who is present as super soul in everyone's heart. There is no difference between the innumerable super souls present in innumerable hearts of living entities. And then Krishna concludes this section by telling who he considers to be the perfect yogi. 32nd verse. We recite this. Atmaupamyena sarvatra samam pashyati Arjuna sukham va yadi va dukham sayogi paramo mataha. Somebody can read on the screen.
He is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress, O Arjuna. Bhagavad Gita 6:32. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabha. So, oh, here is that slide. I was saying, right? I had made this slide. Vision of the yogi, seeing the equanimity of all living beings, also attained by Karma Yoga, which was which verse and which number?
518, Mataji. Yeah, that.
Please
Right?
tell us
Vidya
the verse.
Vinaya
Go ahead, Harini Mataji. Please recite the verse.
In
518. Go ahead.
Oh, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Kavi Hastini Shunichaiva Shvakachaiva Pandita Samadarshina.
Very nice. Yes. 518. So that was a vision of a karma yogi seeing equally, right? In all beings equally. So let's understand this verse. So Prabhupada describes very beautifully as that this verse is a call for compassion. When I was not spiritually conscious, I was very miserable. But now I'm Krishna conscious. I am very happy. So the devotee understands the distress. Sorry, once again. The devotee understands the distress of other living beings from his own experience. They are suffering because they have forgotten their relationship with Krishna. What made me happy will make them happy too. So, nectar that I have tasted, I should share with others. So, Prabhupada has given this verse as a call for compassion, that because that yogi is seeing everybody equally. When I was suffering, I knew that I wasn't in connection with Krishna, and now that I am, I'm finding happiness. So I want to share it with others. So for a yogi, according to Krishna, highest stage of perfection for a yogi is it lost in his inner meditation? Or is it his inner fulfillment leading to compassion for other souls? So by his own example, he showed he was in Vrindavan, living peacefully, joyous within, right? But he did leave Vrindavan because of compassion for other souls. He wanted to give that also. He had this instruction from his Guru Maharaj. He wanted to fulfill that too. But that compassion was I've heard Visheshika Maharaj say this so many times. When your own cup is full with Krishna consciousness, then you want that, then it spills over. Then you want to give it to others. So that spilling over is what compassion is for others. Perfection of Dhyana Yoga for his personal benefit. This is also Samadhi. But then there is another concept of Samadhi in Bhakti Yoga, which is for the benefit of everyone. When one gets out of his comfort zone, one is very comfortable. I've been working the whole week. I'm so tired. I want to rest. Or due to that spilling over, wants to get out and do some book distribution, do some Harinam. That is getting out of. Our Guru Maharaj says, Bhakti begins when you come out of your comfort zone. That is when your bhakti is beginning. Otherwise, it's all philosophy. And this is also another verse from the Bhagavatam. Somebody can read the translation.
It is said that great personalities almost always accept voluntary suffering because of the suffering of people in general.
This is considered the highest method of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is present in everyone's heart. So it is said that great personalities almost always accept voluntarily suffering. It's not that sometimes, okay, I'll do it. Always. They are always eager to. Just recently, we had Vyas Puja of His Holiness Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, and one of his disciples was saying, even in his condition, he's suffering so much, right, physically. But within him, there is always this eagerness of bringing this love of Krishna to everyone. So they were sharing how outside the LA temple on his wheelchair, his disciples are there around him. And there's a new person who's come from far away, just walking on the street. And he's approaching and he's walking, the other side. And Jayapataka Maharaj asks his disciple to stop the wheelchair. And he starts to talk to him. Hey, I'm Jayapataka. What is your name? And the disciples wanted to move him because he was tired. He wanted to take him for his meals and have him rest. But he kept going on and on, talking to this stranger. So it is not sometimes, it is always that they're eager to bring love of Krishna or to bring that touch of Krishna in everybody's life. Let's look at what Prabhupada says.
What do you try and teach, sir?
I am trying to teach what you have forgotten.
Which is what?
That is God. Some of you are saying there is no God. Some of you are saying God is dead, and some of you are saying God is impersonal or void. These are all nonsense. I want to teach all this nonsense that there is God. That is my mission. Any nonsense come to me, I shall prove that there is God. That is my mission. Krishna consciousness. It is a challenge to the atheistic people. There is God. As we are sitting here face to face, you can see God face to face. If you are sincere and if you are serious, that is possible. Unfortunately, we are trying to forget God, therefore we are embracing so many miseries of life. So I am simply preaching that you have Krishna consciousness and be happy.
That's the vision of a pure devotee bringing Krishna consciousness.
Sri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu. Sri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adama Janara Bandhu.
Krishna himself is supremely compassionate. We've seen through so many pastimes, compassion of Krishna. He's real friend of all living entities. Here's another example from Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime of compassion.
Arunam Nayanam Sharanam Rasanam Saraneshkalitam Svatanam Adaram Puriti Surasam Radha Jivanam Pranamami Sachi Sutagora Pranamami Sachi Sutagora Varam Pranamami Sachi Sutagora Varam Pranamami Sachi Sutagora Varam Pranamami Sachi Sutagora Pranamami Sachi Sutagora Varam Pranamami Sachi Sutagora Varam.
Which pastime was that? Who can tell us?
Yeah,
This is on the Rai Madhai Mataji, the Rai Madhai when he has it Nityanand Prabhu with
Yes. Yes,
with the liquor
Jagai
bottle, whatever they were having.
Mm-hmm. Very
Chaitanya
nice.
Mahaprabhu gets angry, he will come over like I think the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes and he actually wants to kill them with his fist. So, but Nityanand Prabhu requests Chaitanya Mahaprabhu not to kill them because in this age, the weapon is of Harinam, not the using the disc.
Very nice. Thank you so much. And both of them, Nitai Gaur, are Parama Karuna, right? Full of compassion. Ultimate compassion.
Parama Karuna Bahudui Jana Nita Gaura Chandra Parama Karuna Bahudui Jana Nitai Gaura Chandra Parama Karuna Bahudui Jana Nitai अवतार सारा शिरोमणि सब अवतार सारा शिरोमणि केवल आनंद का
Right. Now, Arjun speaks to Krishna that the practice of Ashtanga Yoga is difficult. So we'll do 2-3 more verses. Arjuna uvacha yoyam yogastvaya prokta samyena madhusudana etasyaham na pashyami chanchalatvat sthitim stiram. Somebody can read the translation.
Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and unendurable to me. For the mind is restless and unsteady. Bhagavad Gita 6.3. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The previous verse, I forgot to mention one thing. There are some yogis who do not come out. Remember, we were comparing Ashtanga Yogi and Bhakti Yogi. So Ashtanga Yogi is in Samadhi, thinking of or absorbed in the meditation of the super soul within him. And Bhakti Yogi is coming out due to compassion, right? Spreading Krishna consciousness. So some yogis, if you tell them, you go out, you've realized or you experiencing so much happiness within you because you're seeing the super soul within you, why don't you come out and, teach this to people, preach? And they say, some of them, they say, if somebody is thirsty, they have to come to the well. The well doesn't go out, right? And Prabhupada used to say to this that in Kali Yuga, people don't even know that they're thirsty for spiritual, they're so eagerly just in, captivated in enjoying the material senses that they don't even know that there is a real thirst that can be quenched by spiritual life. So that's why the well is coming out, the water is coming out to be given. That's why there's Harinam, that's why there's Rath Yatra. For the people who are not even interested, still they can see and they get some sukriti by hearing and even, looking at the Lord, these yatras. Okay, so the mind is restless. This is what Arjuna is saying, right? It appears to me that this method of Ashtanga Yoga that you just have spoken about, the system of yoga, it is very impractical and unendurable for me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. Mind is restless, he's saying. So Dhyana Yoga is a difficult yoga system because of modes of living, manner of sitting, selection of place, detachment of the mind from material engagements. Prabhupada says Ashtanga Yoga is not practical for this age. It's rejected by Arjuna due to feeling of inability. Not possible for an ordinary man to leave home and go to seclusion in Kali Yuga. Arjuna had much more facilities and abilities. Still, he refused 5,000 years ago. And he's from a royal family, great warrior, great longevity, most intimate friend of Krishna. So here in Kali Yuga, people have short lives, bitter struggle for existence. Very few rare men can do this. So if 5,000 years ago it was difficult, what to speak of now? Arjuna now describes why is the mind so restless. So another beautiful verse which we are going to memorize and we'll recite it now 2-3 times. Chanchalam himana Krishna pramati balavadradam tasyaham nigraham manne vayuriva sudushkaram. Chanchalam himana Krishna pramati balavadradam tasyaham nigraham manne vayuriva sudushkaram. One more time. Chanchalam himana Krishna pramati balavadradam tasyaham nigraham manne vayuriva sudushkaram. Let's have somebody read the translation.
When the mind is restless, turbulent, obstinate, and very strong, O Krishna, and to subdue it, I think, is more difficult than controlling the wind.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So Ashtanga Yoga, basically, the focus is on controlling the mind. And now Arjuna is saying the mind is more difficult to control than controlling the wind. I think this process is very difficult. So he's giving 4 describers. What are these? Chanchal, Pramati, Balavad, and Dridam. And let's understand what these are. So Chanchal means restless or flickering, like a child, doesn't listen. If you tell a child, okay, sit there, I'll be back, for sure the child will move, right? Because the mind is very flickering. So mind is chanchal, like a child who's restless, doesn't listen, leads to mischief. But the mind is not just innocently restless, it is also pramati. It's agitating, it's mad, makes one behave and do inconceivable things when in an angry state. He can also be devilish. So it's not just innocently flickering or restless, it is also agitating. Because of anger, sometimes a man does things which later realizes, I shouldn't have done. Why did I do such things? Because the mind, it makes one do such things. It is also balavad or strong. So even if we think, okay, sometimes anger comes and I need to control it still, but because it's so strong, it overcomes and it does what it makes one do, what one doesn't really want to do, because it's extremely powerful, strong, balavad, ferocious and irresistible, makes one act impractically, irrationally, even self-destructively. One more. He says it's also dhiram, it's obstinate, it's determined to act in ways that are detrimental. So all these 4, combination of the 4 makes the mind extremely dangerous, and we have our worst enemy right inside of us. And this is a song from Avanti Brahman in the Bhagavatam. Vijavacha nayam jano me sukha dukha hetur najiv devatatma griha karma kala mana param karanam almananti samsara chakram parivartayetyat. The Brahmana said, these people are not the cause of my happiness and distress. If you know the pastime of Avanti Brahman, he was very proud and he was so selfish and he made everybody miserable around him. But then everyone rejects him once he loses all his wealth. At that time he realizes, and he's singing these prayers, and one of them is this, that these people are not the cause of my happiness and distress, neither are the demigods, nor my body, nor the planets, nor my past work or time, right? Sometimes we say we're going through this bad time because of my past karma, because the stars are not right, because the demigods are not happy with me, let me do this yagya. I am going through this suffering because of this. We blame so many things. But here Avanti Brahman is saying, these people are not the causes. My own body is not the cause. The demigods are not the cause. The planets are not the cause. My past karma also is not the cause, or even kala, time is not the cause. What is the cause? It's my mind alone that causes happiness and distress and perpetuates the rotation of material life. Mana param karanam amananti. It is my mind only. So the mind is so difficult, Arjuna is saying, to control, to subdue it. I think Vayu Rivasu Dushkaram, it is more difficult than controlling the Vayu or the wind. The wind sometimes can even drag things along with it. And that's what the mind does. Prabhupada says, artificially, one may establish a mental equilibrium toward both friend and enemy, but ultimately no worldly man can do so. For this is more difficult than controlling the raging wind. Intelligence is supposed to direct the mind, but the mind is so strong and obstinate that it often overcomes one's own intelligence, as an acute infection may surpass the efficacy of medicine. So this is all from the purport. And then he says, easiest method to control the mind is told by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, chanting the holy names of the Lord. And then again, he's bringing the same verse, Savaya Mana Krishna Padara Vindayo. Vachamsi Vaikunta Gunanu Vandane. This is from Ambarish Maharaj's example. Such a strong mind is supposed to be controlled by the practice of yoga, but Arjuna found it impractical for an ordinary person. So in the next two verses, Krishna gives solution for dealing with the mind. He says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagena cha Grihate. One more time, two more times. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagena cha Grihate. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Asamshayam Mahabaho Mano Durnigraham Chalam Abhyasena tu Kaunteya Vairagena Jagriyate. Somebody can read the translation, please.
Lord Sri Krishna said, O mighty armed son of Kunti, it is undoubtedly very difficult to curb the restless mind, but it is possible by suitable practice and by detachment. Hare Krishna.
So Bhagwan is saying, giving a solution to Arjuna to deal with the mind. So this is a general solution he's giving, not just for Ashtanga Yogi, but for all the paths. So yes, it is difficult, but it is possible. Control it by practice and by detachment. Abhyasena and Vairagena. So practice and detachment, these two things. So practice from the dictionary, we brought this definition, the actual application or use of an idea, belief or method as opposed to theories relating to it. Whatever we're learning from the Bhagavad Gita, we have to put it in practice, especially because coming directly from Krishna, right? So Krishna here is saying practice. Then he's saying, which is, we may not have full control over the mind, but we certainly have some control over the mind. And that level of control keeps increasing as we keep practicing. So on the left side, you see how not to chant. On the right side, you see how to chant. So left side is when we have our phone around us, right? In the beginning, because the mind cannot be controlled, keep your phone maybe in another room. And that way we can chant nicely, properly for that time. Slowly, slowly, because we're saying no to looking at our phone while we're chanting, even if the phone is around us, the mind will have been controlled so much that we will not even pick up the phone, even if there's a notification. So that's how Krishna is saying by abhyas, by practice, we can control the mind. And then he says by detachment, the state of being objective or aloof. So impersonal spiritual detachment is difficult. If we just keep sitting, no, it is difficult. But personal spiritual attachment and then detachment from the undesirable that will entangle us in this material world, that detachment happens automatically by engagement. So you can go through this. Prabhupada has given some notes, some in the purport, points on practice and points on detachment. Yes, Madhuri Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can you please elaborate this personal attachment, personal spiritual attachment and impersonal attachment? I did not understand that part.
Sure, Mataji, 1 second. Okay, so I don't know where these red lines have come from, but anyway. So we're trying to detach from matter, right? For Ashtanga Yogi who's sitting down in meditation, trying to control his mind, it is difficult for him to do so. To do what? To detach from sense objects because there is no attachment, right? We've done this before. Without attachment to Krishna, detachment is very difficult from sense objects, right? We took example in our last class of a child. If you tell the child, okay, keep sitting quietly, it is very difficult. But if you give him a game or something to do, coloring, it is easier for him to sit at one place. Similarly, for the mind, if you tell it, okay, no sense gratification, just don't think about it, sit quietly, think of, that Atma within you, Paramatma within, it is difficult. But if the mind is given an engagement, right, attachment, then it becomes easy. right? For the mind. So personal spiritual attachment is with Krishna, that the person is sitting down and trying to, think of Krishna, chanting his names. So the detachment from the material sense objects becomes easier for him, right? It happens automatically.
Got it. Understood. Hare Krishna. Thank you, ma'am.
Hare Krishna. So, and then Prabhupada uses the word pareshanubhuti, which means spiritual satisfaction. So, feeling of satisfaction a hungry man has for even like a morsel of the food he eats. This is a spiritual satisfaction that comes to a person who has attachment to Krishna, hearing about Krishna. So, he talks about hearing and eating foodstuff. So, hearing is treatment for the mad mind, controlling it, and eating, which is offered to Krishna, is appropriate diet for the suffering patient. So this is from Prabhupada's purport, effects of Krishna Katha to the degree we keep hearing. So because by hearing, vairagya or detachment from what draws the mind away from Krishna, that detachment comes. And then fixing the mind on Krishna comes, attachment to Krishna comes, then discharge of devotional activities happen. And then pareshanubhuti, which is spiritual satisfaction, comes. So curing a disease with expert treatment and appropriate diet, right, is similar to curing the mad mind, with expert treatment of hearing Krishna Katha and appropriate diet of honoring prasadam. And this is the spiritual satisfaction which is achieved thereof. Next verse. Asamshayatma atmana yogo dushprapa iti me mati vashyatmana tu yatata shakyo vaptum upayatah. Somebody can read the translation.
Whose mind is unbridled, self-realization is difficult work. But he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. That is my opinion. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Ji. So, for the one whose mind is unbridled or uncontrolled, self-realization is difficult work. But he whose mind is controlled and who strives by appropriate means is assured of success. That is Krishna's opinion. He's saying that is my opinion. So, asamshayatmana yogo dushprapya. Asamyata is uncontrolled and Atmana is by the mind. So for that yogi whose mind is not controlled, then it is difficult. Krishna is being uncompromising here. Mental control is a must for a yogi, he's saying. And yoga, which is self-realization, dushprapya, is difficult to obtain. So that self-realization is difficult to obtain for a yogi whose mind is not controlled by him. Versus, Prabhupada also gives an example, beautiful example in the purport. He's saying, trying to practice yoga while engaging the mind in material enjoyment, right? A person is trying to practice his yoga. It could be any yoga process, not just Ashtanga yoga, any yoga process. And still his mind is hankering for material enjoyment. He's giving example. He's saying is like igniting a fire while pouring water on it. So you're trying to ignite fire, but you're pouring water, it's never going to ignite. So similarly, we're never going to achieve spiritual perfection if our mind is not controlled. It's still hankering for material things. This is a small cartoon from, I got it from online. Did everyone pick up some yoga pants? What is important here is what yoga pants you're wearing, and if you bought it from our yoga center, because people are trying to gain money. So the yoga in the modern time is not gaining perfection in spiritual life. It's just monetary gain or whatever. Even enjoying more sensuously, because now you have a good body, you can enjoy more, right? So Krishna is being understanding and encouraging both. So in the beginning, he's saying, he's understanding, yes, it is difficult to control, but you can control it by practice and detachment. And then he's encouraging also, he's saying, yogi who can control his mind and give up the propensities for material enjoyment perfects his yoga and finally attains liberation. Having heard from Krishna that one should endeavor to control the mind in the practice of yoga, Arjuna became inquisitive to know what happens to someone who fails to continue his endeavor in the yoga practice. So he's very concerned, right? Krishna is saying, you have to control your mind, right? You have to. Now Arjuna is saying, okay, a person is trying to control his mind, but he meets with death. Meaning the success hasn't come within his lifetime. What happens to that person? And then Krishna will start to answer in the next verse, which we'll do in the next class. We still have 5 minutes. What we'll do is, does anybody have any questions or reflections?
Yes, Mataji, there is one slide in which you were showing the detachment and the practice examples by Srila Prabhupada. If you can please show that again, I'll just take a screenshot of that.
Let me know when to stop.
This one.
This? Yeah?
Not this one.
This?
Another slide. Not this one. Yes, this one.
Okay. This is everything you're seeing this here is from the purport. You can take a screenshot. Yes. Okay. Anybody else has any reflection, any question? Okay, so this is an activity that we can do on our own. You can write down if you want to. How much should we identify with non-devotees' happiness? Or this can be a homework also, because it's already almost time. How much should we identify with non-devotees' happiness and distress? As it is due to illusion, it may be best to be detached. So the question is, what is the appropriate attitude for a devotee towards the illusory suffering of others? Right? How do we link this? In the class today, there was a verse where Krishna said, the one who sees another's distress as his own distress, right? He sees another's happiness as his happiness, another's distress as his distress. He sees everybody equally. And we spoke about compassion, how Prabhupada was so compassionate, Krishna was compassionate, Nitai, Gaur Nitai are so compassionate. So we want to follow in the footsteps. We want to be compassionate, right? We want to bring Krishna consciousness in other people's lives. So when we come across people who are going through suffering situations in this material world, do we be detached? Do we listen to them? How do we react? What is the proper, appropriate attitude of a devotee towards suffering of others? And how to bring them to Krishna consciousness. So not a big answer. You can write it in between 50 to 100 words. That's it. And we'll share a couple in the next class, whoever wants to share. But please do write, everyone. It is a bonus question it'll have points in your exams also as participation in the class. So everybody can take advantage of bonus points. Okay. Any question about the exam or anything about this class or any reflection? Yes, Kaya Mataji.
Mataji, how many more shlokas will we be memorizing before exam?
I think this is it from this chapter. I can check. Hold on.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.